Sadudes. The flashing lights warning on this one. This build hurts to look at. So my intention with this build was to try out the new Living Lightning support gem to see if it was any good. It's not, but it ended up turning into something completely different. Just to get it out of the way, Living Lightning support gem is a support gem that spawns little lightning SRS minions to do a little flicker strike before despawning. They are summoned when the main skill does any lightning hits, so I went for Blade 4 of Tarthus to reduce buttons and just have it constantly happen, but a Blade Vortex or Tornado would also work if you're fine with recasting. Or just any skill that does a lightning hit, it's up to you. The main problem I had was that I was flying blind. POB has no numbers for this gem and the in-game tooltip shows nothing. I'm not even sure if the support gems I was using worked or not. Also, any support gems that affect Living Lightning also apply to mana multiplier to the main skill, which made my Blade 4 of Tarthus cost a ton of mana. In retrospect, just casting a Blade Vortex every once in a while would have been way better than this, but I was already invested into building around the Tarthus. But from vibes alone and testing it out on an Elder, I can certainly say it does something. It doesn't do much, but it's not nothing. So the original idea of the build was just to have Living Lightning in a 6-link staff, and then another 6-link in my main body to drive it. But the driver stole the show in this one, and that skill is Absolution of Inspiring. Absolution is the spell equivalent to Dominating Blow. It's a spell that does damage in an area, and summons minions that also cast that spell. The Inspiring variant lowers the amount of summons you have, but has a baked-in minion damage applies to skill damage. This is further scaled by gem quality. The new Foulborn unique Foulborn Skin of the Loyal works great here, which replaces the plus gem to plus 20 quality for all the gems. This includes the quality of support gems as well. With a 21-23 quality gem, this body armor gives the skill 357% of minion damage as increased damage. Just like the normal version of Skin of the Loyal, this is a great base for corrupting, and I have a plus 2 minion gem one, but area and duration also work as well, meaning there's lots of choices. This does have the same restriction as the base type of having gem colors you can't change, but you just have to work around that. So with staves and minions, I was leaning towards the Templar side of the tree, and the Ascendency I decided with was Hierophant. Hero was always a really good 4-point Ascendency, but its other points forcing you to take mana, totems, or brands kind of restricted it. But with the new Bloodlines Ascendancies, it's now a fantastic all-arounder. This is another Pharaoh build though, this time Spectres and Cats on crit. More on that later. Hero's choices are pretty obvious. Conviction of Power for min charges, and then further scaling through the Timeless Keystone Inner Conviction. Arcane Blessing for Arcane Surge scaling. This gives 20% more spell damage, which becomes part of the Arcane Surge buff, which means it can be further scaled by Arcane Surge effect. We get 90 effect from the tree, and another 80 from a Clarity Sublight Vision. The downside of having no other auras isn't that big of a deal, as we stack Heralds and we get Determination from a Spectre. The Forbiddens for Illuminated Devotion were insanely cheap, so I grabbed those as well. For the Feral side, I did Spectres and the Haste Path again, but I also did Hunt Leader for Cats on crit. Unlike Spectres that can die, these just work. Each Tiger gives 7% attack and cast speed and 25% crit chance. With 5 Tigers, it's 35% cast speed and 125% crit chance, up 100% of the time, with no upkeep issues at all. With access of Leech to both spell and life, and a ton of global defenses, I decided to pretend being a Templar and used a replica Soul Tether. This belt gives Corrupted Soul, which grants a portion of your life as extra ES, but makes half of your non-chaos damage bypass ES. The downside lets you split damage equally across life and ES, except chaos damage. And this is usually used by Templars who stack a lot of regen. By pure chance, my life and ES were almost perfectly equal, giving me quite a big health pool. There is the weakness to chaos damage, but a 30% bypass mastery helps keep the edge off. For reservations, clarity, obviously. For both Sublight Vision, but also for the massive mana problems this build had, mostly from Living Lightning. We can't use other auras due to the Sublight Vision, but since Absolution is a physical spell, we can use both Herald of Purity and Ash. There is also just enough room to fit Aspect of Spider and Arctic Armor as well. For Spectres, I went for Perfect Guardian Turtle. In the Poison Spark video, I saw a lot of comments saying the Spectre aura is too small when the minion falls out of range. That wasn't an issue using Forest Tiger, but that is an issue using Turtle. Turns out, turtles are slow. Really slow. The only way I can even keep them up is by manually casting Convocation off cooldown. While we're here, also put a Lightning Golem right next to it, because we need the mana regen, and it just dies as much as the turtle needs recalled. This sounds annoying, but just getting in the habit of pressing 2 buttons every couple seconds really isn't that bad. Back to Turtle, it's purely defensive. A Determination aura, which does work even though we have some blind vision. Some Fizz mitigation, and occasionally makes me invulnerable. You could go Tiger if you want, but the frenzy charges are lost due to Inner Conviction. For AG, I splurged. A Corrupted Vixen's Entrapment with a weakness on it for the curses. Rare Boots with 40% all resistances and some movement speed. Doppelganger's Guise with the body armor for some regen. A Helm of the Tyrant with the blue socket for res shred and some flat damage. And finally, a Kingmaker for just a ton of buffs. That said, AG dies all the time, mainly in bosses. Turtle doesn't die though. This build has been phenomenal. I kinda lost all interest in other builds because of how deep this one goes. I never had a build that had so many angles to invest in. Everywhere I look, there are more and more ways to invest into it. It's not like it's bad at low investment either, it was really good in the budget form. And I enjoyed playing it, but every time I would put more in, it would give more back. Let's take the obvious big ticket example, Awakened Spell Cascade. This gem is very expensive, but it is worth it. That said, the normal Spell Cascade version works just fine. The reason why this gem is so expensive and so good is that it lets you overlap your skills. With normal Spell Cascade, you can overlap twice. But with Awakened Spell Cascade, you can hit 3 times and sometimes 5 on bigger bosses. This gem is more than double damage in some cases. Plus it increases your overall AoE, making your clear slightly easier. But I want to emphasize again, you do not need this gem. All the time I see people not wanting to start a Spell Cascade build because they can't afford the Awakened version. When it doesn't matter that much, it's still very good in its base form. I would even be willing to League start it. But it's not just Spell Cascade though, there's also Awakened Fire Damage and Awakened Spell Echo, which each give noticeable damage increases. All the upgrades to my AG were later additions, a budget AG would work just fine. I could get a +4 Corrupt on my Skin of Oil, and corrupting a better Soul Tether. There are just a lot of big ticket items that could be massive improvements for this build. For my other gear, behold, a Cursed Staff. Gem level fractures were basically free this league thanks to the tree, and I hit this one in a few minion essences. Probably not the best place to put Spider, but I had room there and the other crafting messes would have been very expensive. With so many large upgrades I had to be picky with my upgrades. A lot of my items are partially done. This amulet still needs Veil crafted, and these gloves are missing 2 mods in them. Helm is done though, it's just a bunch of ES and res. For rings I tried to get cast speed and res on both. You can't PoB the damage exactly. The listed DPS is just for 1 hit of Absolution, it doesn't count for overlaps. 2 hits on normal Cascade and 3 to 5 on Awakened. The minions are also doing damage, but I couldn't figure out how much it is to show it. From my testing on Elder, it looks like about 1 million. The EHP is pretty good for my builds. The large hit pool is rather comfortable, but the recovery is lacking. Spell and Life Leech just doesn't really cover it fast enough. It would probably be a lot better if I could find a way to get Instant Leech in here, but I couldn't figure out how to get that. My graphs are the 2 defensive ones, one that gives a Molten Shell and the other one that gives Elemental Shield. If you're following the PoB, a lot of the feral buffs aren't in PoB yet, so I added them as custom mods. If you're following at a later date and these are added, you should disable these. Okay, time for ratings. If you forgot, this was supposed to be a Living Lightning video, and the best I can say is that it exists and does something maybe. There's probably some tech that can use it, but I think Phantasms already does that role. That's really all it is, Lightning Phantasms. Not deserving of a 6 link and honestly brought the whole build down. Not that it mattered though, Absolution gets 9 out of 10. Despite having a barely functioning meme thrown in at it. It scales so well, and works at every point in that scaling. Good clear, good single target, fun to use. Its main issue is that it blinds you, in real life. It does have a very low base crit chance, which makes it a little hard to build, but it did eventually get it capped. And that's about all for this one. And that's also the last build for Breach 2. So in my last video, I was talking about making videos for other games, and I think I found a good target. I've been playing off and on a newer RPG called Ellen. Think of it kind of like a mix between RimWorld, Dwarf Fortress, and a JRPG. But despite this game being very complicated and decently popular, there's almost no YouTube content for it. So I think that's a good place to start.